Joining me now is author and political commentator Shemeka Michelle.
Shemeka Michelle.
Shemeka Michelle.
Shemeka Michelle.
When God looked at man, he said it's not good for man to be alone. He gave him a woman. He didn't give him a village. He didn't give him the community. He said, be fruitful and multiply to this man and this woman. So it's supposed to be God, husband, wife.
If you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you've always done.
You know, I'm America only in the same sort of sense that I am my family only. My priority is my family. I will never put any other family above my own. I will help other families only to the extent that it brings no harm to my own family. My family is the only family that I treat as my family because it is my only family. There will never be a time when the interests of another family will come before my own. If I had to choose between rescuing 1,000 strangers from a fire or just one of my children, I would choose my child without hesitation. It could be 1,000,000 strangers that I could rescue or just one of my children, and I will choose my child. I'd say that's my family only. And I also think that every parent would do the same. Now, our leaders are not our parents, and we're not their children, so I hesitate a little bit to make those kinds of analogies, but the same general principles should apply. They should prioritize their people, Americans, above all other people on earth. They should concern themselves with other nations only to the degree that it benefits Americans. If they could choose between helping 10 million foreigners or one American family, they should choose the American family without hesitation. If they could help 10 million foreigners, but it would harm one American family, then they should not help those 10 million foreigners. Okay, this is what it means to be a nation, a people, or what it should mean. And from the time George Washington was president, no American, no one who truly cared about conserving and protecting this country disagreed with this. It's obvious. Now, from the responses I received over the weekend, it is clear that my statements are now considered highly incendiary, even among some conservatives, for stating that our leaders should exclusively prioritize America's interests only. That's what we mean by American only. The only interests that matter are our own. And for saying that, I was criticized from many directions. And I also received some words of concern, or perhaps more eager anticipation from other commentators who prophesied that I would be fired for that video that I just played. A lot of comments like that. Well, if you're hearing this and you're watching it, it seems safe to say that I was not, in fact, fired from my job for saying that we should prioritize America's interests. Nor would it have made much sense if I had been, because I've been saying the same thing for many years now, and it's also just really obvious.
Welcome to Shaking My Head. I am your host, Shemeka Michelle. So yesterday we talked about loyalty and what happens when the people who once praised you suddenly flip and turn on you publicly. But Brandon Tatum isn't the only example. This is happening all across the conservative movement. Candace Owens said something outside the approved narrative, attacked. Tucker Carlson raises a question, attacked. Megyn Kelley, Matt Walsh, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and anyone who prioritizes America first, attacked. This isn't about left or right. This is about control versus independence. Yesterday, I had some people upset with me because of my opinion on the friendship of Brandon Tatum and Candace Owens. I had someone say, or, several people say, I'm unfollowing you because they didn't like my opinion on the friendship. And let me just say, if you were ready to, gut me, if you wanted that comment to just break me down, that you were unfollowing me, someone said I've been following you for years, but this is a shame, or you should be shamed. Now I'm going to have to unfollow you. I need you to know that I was devastated, right? I cried all night. I mean, body shaking sobs, just all night crying. I couldn't eat. I could barely sleep. I definitely did not go to the movies with the love of my life. I didn't meet family there and have a good time at all. I didn't do that. I didn't sit in the theater and have nachos and popcorn and a cherry slushie. I didn't do that at all, right? I didn't take pictures in front of the oversized Christmas tree. I was just devastated all day. I mean, you could probably look at me and tell that I've just been crying my eyes out. In fact, I don't have an empty tissue box right here. This is full so that I can reach over and grab a Kleenex for all of the tears that you see streaming down my face right now because you're unfollowing me. Could you see them? Can you see them now? Can you see them? Are they coming out? Are my tears? Nothing. Exactly what I felt when your weak, wussy behind felt like you needed to publicly announce that you were unfollowing me because you disagreed. Listen, people with sanity, you don't agree with someone all the time. It's not even possible. And if you followed me for years, but it was this opinion on friendship that was the straw that broke the camel's back, the camel isn't that sturdy to start with. You are weak, you are wussy, and you need not be no follower of mine. Now today, I have brought in Charles Love to help me unpack why conservatives keep coming after their own voices, why dissent is treated like betrayal, and why the movement is cannibalizing itself from the inside. Welcome to Shaking My Head, Charles Love. You are an official head shaker. And this is where we want you to pop your collar. Tell us who you are, what you do, and why you have the authority to speak on what we're speaking on.
Well, before I do that, I have to say thank you for not canceling. I was concerned that you would just reach out to me and tell me we weren't even going to do this since the person unfollowed you. I mean,
right.
I don't even know why we would talk, but thank you for struggling on and continuing, and I appreciate that. I am Charles Love. I guess I am known and important because I used to, be your lower sidekick. You used to drag me along in the podcast world. Shemeka and I, along with Wilfred Riley, we're co-hosts of the Cut the Bull podcast. Shemeka deserted me, but I like Shemeka with the unfollow. I carried on. I am a writer. I've done many different publications, a couple books. I mostly write on the culture, race, crazy, logic, we want equality of the books. And I think I'm astutely capable and able to decipher this topic because we'll get to it. But my one line is, all you people are crazy. And that's what it all boils down to. People are crazy and emotional and in their feelings.
Yes. I just like, what is happening over the last, I don't know, it feels like it just keeps increasing. I would probably say a month, but then people would probably say, no, it's been going on for a lot longer than that. But I don't know. Every time I feel like I get on X, there is someone else they're coming after. I don't know. This whole Marjorie Taylor Greene thing, I feel like it came from out of nowhere. Like maybe I wasn't paying attention, but just to see them coming after her or her coming after Trump, I'm thinking, what in the heck happened? And how did it happen so fast? Like, was I just not paying attention? What, like, how did this happen? Why are we here? Like, can you just tell me, like, how did we get here?
Well, I think it has definitely accelerated in the last few months. Maybe that's why you're seeing it, because in the last couple of months, there've been like 3 major pain points and arguments that have kind of blown up larger than normal. But if you really want to think about how you got here, I think it goes way back. I think you got to go back to, I don't know what would come into my mind first, but I'll give you one example. It's when politicians somehow flipped the switch and decided they wanted to be influencers, right? So, and, you know, in our country, politicians already have some level of power, right? They get elected, they got to go out and shake hands and meet people. They get to, depending on the position, they get to write legislation. They're executives if they're a mayor or a governor. So they got all this power. So they already had enough, a large amount of power compared to the rest of us. Yet something about the salaciousness, the clicks, the dopamine, the same thing other people getting clicks, they got swept up in it. So when we started, so I feel like one of the, not the earliest, but one of the triggers for me that I noticed things were going awry was when politicians used to be on a different side, but now on the same side, started like basically going, you know, doing yo mama on social media, right? So they're snapping at each other. They're calling each other names. You know, they're in the Twitter. I'm like, are they working? Because they're just in the Twitter feed attacking each other. And it, like I said, originally it was the other side. So we kind of ignored it because we just thought it was just a social media version of what the Democrats and Republicans did each other. But if you remember it, you mentioned Marjorie Taylor Greene. Remember her and Lauren Boebert got into it, right? And so they were fighting on social media. So when our politicians started to, you know, look at Gavin Newsom now, you fast forward 2 years, Gavin thinks he's Trump, right? So he's making videos, he's acting like Trump, and everybody's saying, well, he's just gearing up to run for president. Maybe, but we can't pretend that that's normal. His behavior is insane, right? But it's been like that. So I think that's part of the reason. I mean, we all reacted in different ways to having a platform and having people follow and reply, right? Most of us, you know, regardless of the size, were able to use it for a positive, right? Well, I got something I want to say, and I'm going to say it in the most impactful way. I think it could be through comedy, it could be through writing books or whatever, but you try to do it in a very impactful way. Some people just say, what can I say or do to get the most clicks? That's what I'm going to do. I don't even have to believe it.
Yes, that's true. And some people would say, well, Trump does it. I know that's Jasmine Crockett's whole, you know, point when Stephen A. Smith tried to come at her and say, you know, do you have to carry yourself like this? Instead of her thinking, okay, he's redirected me, or maybe I shouldn't be this way. Her whole thing was, this is what Trump does. And I have to admit, that's one of the things that I loved about Trump when he was running the first time. I liked that I felt like he was me running for president, right? So
this could be a problem, but okay.
Okay, it could be a problem because people will say to me, why don't you run for office? And I'm thinking, nah, I'm better on this side because I wouldn't be your traditional politician. You know, if they go low, I'm going lower. And I have no problem telling people that I'm a different Michelle, you know. Right. I'm actually a woman, you know, whatever.
But see, Trump, you make a point about Trump. Trump is the other. So I mentioned the politicians. Trump is the other thing. Like him or hate him, the thing that people miss about Trump is that Trump is unique and Trump is really being himself, right? Trump's not playing a role, right? So because of that, you could say it's not, remember there was a period it wasn't presidential or he's mean and all that kind of stuff. All may be true. I've seen a lot of tweets and I'm like, okay, he crazy. But at the same time, he's consistent, right? He's doing the same thing now that he did before. He's talking in the same way. He'll talk about a woman. He'll talk about a man. He'll talk about a Republican. He'll talk about a Democrat. You know, same thing. I'm not saying it's right. It's not what I would do. Shemeka would be more likely to do that. But the problem becomes when other people see him somehow find success at it, They think, well, I could do that. I'm just going to follow that pattern. But when Gavin Newsom does it, it doesn't come off as authentic. One, it's not even a personal attack on him. The man has been in politics for decades, from mayor to, all these different roles in California before governor. And now he's a governor. So he's been in politics for all these years, and he's never acted like that before. So it doesn't seem authentic, because it's like, where's this coming from? Whereas Trump came down the escalator like, Mexicans, they stood at their worst. They're terrible. Stop sending those murders and rapists, right? So from day one, he was like, not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's consistent. You can't come be in politics for 15 years, and then last month you want to start mean tweeting. It doesn't come off as authentic. So you got the people chasing clicks, but then you have to also, we've lost a lot of authenticity, and I think that's part of the problem too.
Oh, absolutely. Because I saw something where Gavin Newsom was talking about how he struggled. He knows what it's like to just put two pieces of bread together. And I was thinking, didn't he grow up like with a silver spoon in his mouth? Like
well, the bread was around the silver spoon. That's what was in the middle. Silver spoon sandwich. You never had that coming?
Yeah, I've never had that silver spoon sandwich, but apparently it's the thing. And that's one of the frustrations that I have with Jasmine Crockett, because someone tried to tell me the other day they wanted me to correct one of my colleagues from Fearless because he called her ghetto. And they were like, what does Shemeka Michelle think about this? And I'm like, first of all, ghetto is not a color. It's more so associated now with the behavior than a place. And not only that, it's an act for her. And I think that's why people are so annoyed, because she was schooled with the elites. She was in private school. When you look at her old videos, when she first came to office, she wasn't talking the way that she's talking. Now it's all of the weave and the eyelashes and the fingernails and the getting somebody told. And it's like there's been a change. If you go and look at my videos from 10 years ago, they're the same. I'm the same. If you ask people that I went to school with, is this Shemeka? They would say, yeah, she's always been, a few French fries short of a Happy Meal. She's crazy. So,
that's why she relates to Trump, because they both crazy.
Okay. Right. I'm the same. And so, yes, I do feel like we have lost the authenticity, and it's frustrating because in an effort to be the most popular or to be seen as the baddest or the most fearless, I'm watching conservatives attack the people that they once supported. And I get that, your opinions change and things that you get behind, or policies or whatever that you support, they change. But it's almost like it's not based on that. It's based on incentives. Like the incentives are getting people to change. And I don't think those things are directly correlated to taking care of the American people, which is a problem.
Definitely. And in the case of Jasmine Crockett, all of a sudden she just curses all the time now too. Like, so that just seems like she's trying to play some character that doesn't come off as her. But if you it's like, it's human nature is really what it is. If you act in a certain way and you somehow benefit from it, you're going to continue to do it. And they keep, when you got crazy Stephanie Miller kissing her feet, right? That means I need to do more of it. This is the reaction I get, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah, they don't care that it looks crazy. Do you think conservative media is becoming as controlled as mainstream media? When we see how it's like when Tucker first left Fox, people were so happy. They were applauding. Oh, good. He gets to be himself. He gets to say what he wants and do what he wants without.
Maybe we didn't know what that meant.
Right. Without Fox telling him what to do. And now all of a sudden it's, oh my God, they want to put the same shackles on Tucker that Fox had. Like, I thought we were happy. We were applauding. People left. I stopped watching Fox because Tucker left. And now all of a sudden, people who were so pro Tucker now hate his guts. Well, it's like we're just as controlled.
Right. Well, I would say it's different in the sense that you're right about the control. And, even as, people talk about is the right reacting in a lot of the same ways that the left does. That's all true. But I wouldn't say it's the same controls as the mainstream media, because the controls themselves are different. Here on social media, him being on X, or if you're doing your podcast in whatever way you're doing, yes, people are kind of acting in a mob mentality kind of way and trying to pressure you. But I don't know how real that really is. I mean, I'm sure we'll get to that. I've been saying this all along, and I know I'm still in the minority, but I say I'm only in the minority because I'm in the minority in the small circle in this Venn diagram that we're talking about. Globally, or in the country, I'm not in the minority, but on Twitter, I'm in the minority. But I just feel like it's an echo chamber, not from a left-right. We used to talk about how social media is an echo chamber, left-right. I think it kind of feeds itself because a certain type of person, there's lots of people on X and all the other platforms, but a certain type of person is going to be on a regular basis, right? So you got to limit that number. So people who are on regularly and post and comment as opposed to watch. And they're talking about politics and cultural stuff, right? So and the more you do that, you tend to skew celebrity, influencer, politician, journalists, all these things. So if your pool is of people in that same, kind of headspace, then you're minimizing the variance because you're eliminating all the regular people, right? All your Uber drivers and all your restaurant employees and all that. They're not in that circle. So you're already in this tight, small circle. So those are the people who are trying to pressure for or against anything, right? Whether it's political stuff, the Supreme Court, Tucker, Candace Owens, whatever the case may be, the people saying these people should be kicked off the platform. And then of course we got the bot problem, right? So then you got the bots. So it's hard to look at that and say how real the numbers or how real that pressure is. We know it is because we can see the consistency of it. But it's not, it's not the same as if, a bunch of people write the editorial page at the Wall Street Journal are complaining to CBS about something they do, or Jimmy Kimmel. The stuff on social media seems to kind of feed itself and multiply in an inorganic way.
So I don't know, then would you compare it more to like the Jehovah's Witness? How you get excommunicated,
Yeah, kind of, but I would compare it to the mob mentality, the cancel culture. I would compare it to people saying, we find out, that Shemeka believes something we don't believe. So instead of saying, and she owns a store, instead of saying, I'm not going to go to the store anymore, we post something on social media, or we start a boycott, or we call people up and say, don't go to that store, right? And so in a lot of ways, in the same way that people on the left were doing it, it's kind of the same thing. It's the only difference is who's doing it, why you're doing it, and what level of influence you have. But the core of the practice is the same. You don't like what someone's saying or doing, and you're trying to, in essence, cancel them.
Right.
The Tucker thing is interesting because Tucker's, smart. So how he frames stuff. The same way it worked on his show is what's making people angry. So he's not, I don't watch his show, so I don't know. But from the clips I've seen, it's not like he's saying, you know what, Nazis are great and the Jews are bad and we should kill them all, right?
Right.
He's inviting people on who may believe that. And then he's asking questions like, so what are you saying this? Oh, that's interesting, and saying, I'm just asking questions, right?
Right.
And so I get it to them. So I get it almost. I get the people saying, well, he knows what he's doing, which is true, or the people who are saying he's not asking tough enough questions, right? So I'll give you an example. You and I talked to Tucker. We had him on, right? But this was before he was canceled, so don't cancel us, right?
Okay.
And did you not get some of the same thing? Like people were like, and we did. They were like, are you going to ask him if what was the thing they were saying about him at the time?
He was racist.
The replacement theory. It was like, are you going to ask him about white replacement? And we did, but we still got attacked because he gives an answer like, well, you didn't challenge his answer. Well, what am I supposed to say? Well, either I agree with the answer or I don't agree with the answer. What I can't do is say he doesn't really mean what he said.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing I'm seeing so much of. Like they don't like that to me, Tucker's a journalist. And so when I think about what he's doing when he platforms anybody, I think back because Jason had brought this point up. We used to watch shows like Phil Donahue. And Phil Donahue would bring on the KKK, and they would say whatever they wanted to say, or he would bring on Louis Farrakhan, and Farrakhan would say what he wanted to say. Anybody, and it wasn't Phil's place to actually take a position or fuss them out, or whatever.
Mhm.
He was just giving them a platform to kind of question them, to see how they felt, what their true thoughts were. And us as the audience got to decide how we felt about it. It wasn't that he was trying to tell us how we had to feel. We got to choose. And it's like now they don't like the fact that people are presenting information. And as the audience, we get to choose how we feel about that, whether we agree or disagree, whether we like it or not, we get to choose. And I hate that I use Phil Donahue because I feel like I dated myself, and I'm much younger than you.
Anyway, well, so here's the point. Let me push back on that a little bit. Here's the only issue with that. Two things. I agree with you because it's hard to do, but our goal when we started the podcast was to have a lot of people who didn't agree with us on. They get scared and they don't come on. We can't control that, so we have to move on. And Will tell you, I told them to go find me a white, because a lot of social media, you get all this push as they push back against the DEI stuff, people go to the extreme. And I've been seeing all these posts about Black people aren't really citizens, or Black people, it was never intended for them, and Black people shouldn't be in the country. I want them on the show. And when if they come on, please, by the way, if you think Black people aren't citizens, come on the show, come on the podcast. And when I interview them, I'm not really going to push back because so we had, go look up the podcast. We had a woman named Fatima Gilliam on. She wrote a book, big liberal, got multiple degrees, and she was attacking Whitey and all that stuff. And I didn't agree with her, but I didn't challenge her. Just like, okay, so what do you think about this? And people attacked me for that, right? And the same thing I had Gina Roberts on, trans woman, right, man? So a trans woman. And they were like, well, why didn't you challenge them? I let the crazy speak for itself. Right?
I
mean, I want them to say what they believe. I'll ask questions like, so are you mean all the Black people? Okay. And I don't really challenge it because I want them unedited. Because to be fair, even Nancy Pelosi, AOC, or whoever you want to pick on the right, when you get them in soundbite, they can say, well, they took me out of context. So 45 minutes to an hour of you being your true crazy, I want it out there. The difference with Tucker is, the argument is not just one of the arguments that he doesn't push back. I can't really say because I don't listen to the whole interview. But what I will say, you look at the guests, you gave an example of Phil having KKK on and then having Louis Farrakhan on. The argument against Tucker in recent times is he will have KKK on and never have Louis Farrakhan. So it's not like he's having a series, an anti-Semite and then a Zionist, right? It's not like he's having somebody from the Jewish, from the Israeli government and then a Palestinian protester or an imam on, right? He's not doing both. So if you have 5 straight Nick Fuentes is on, then it's going to be like you're trying to push a narrative. I believe that that's the argument. Now, I don't know. I don't watch every guest, but I would say that would be the only issue there is if he could fix his problem and even throw softball questions. If he has somebody on the other side and he throws them softball questions, but if he doesn't have the other side, or if he has Nick Fuentes on, gives him a nice, cool, friendly interview, and then he has a Zionist on, it was like, you think you're the most important, and he attacks him, then it comes off as unfair.
Right.
And as you know, I don't attack anybody. You did like when I yelled at somebody, but that's only because they didn't answer questions.
Yeah, there was this one lady who almost made you snatch out every piece of hair you had left.
Because she wouldn't answer the question. Other than that, I don't have to agree with the question. You can't come on the show and not answer the questions. I mean, that's unfair.
Right. So bringing up, and I don't watch every episode of Tucker myself, just the ones that it seems like are popular, or maybe they're discussing something that I'm actually interested in. So I don't know if he's nice to some and mean to others, but I think that would be a very valid point. If that's the case, that would be a valid criticism that people would have. I just don't know. I don't know. Maybe my feed is full of a different type of criticism. So I want to ask you,
Okay.
why do you think there's such this big thing about wanting to silence or punish conservative voices for asking or questioning foreign policy or certain foreign policy?
Well, it's really only one foreign policy, right? There's only one thing. I guess we can get into that further if we go back to Matt's comment, because I do want to talk about that clip you showed, because it is interesting. And that's a good example, because people are upset, which seems weird. I think I gave away my point.
That's what I was thinking. Like, why does America first make you an enemy? Like, this just seems like, what's happening?
Matt's is a little more nuanced. So you mentioned MTG earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I was on Newsmax a couple days ago, and I defended her in the sense that whether you like her or not, it seems like she's pretty consistent. And it's really everyone else that's the problem. They were always calling her crazy, especially on the left. And you know, and to be fair, Trump is a weird animal. Trump has some very conservative leanings on 3, 4, 5 issues. He has some somewhat liberal issues on 3 or 5 issues, and he has some centrist issues on some issues, and he has some I don't care, I'll use it to get what I want because it's not important to me. And that's just human nature. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but if people don't look at him that way, they get confused. So what happens, these people love him because he's crazy like you, because he pushes back against the left. They think he's awesome, Trump, Trump, Trump. And then when he does something they don't like, they freak out. I'm like, he is consistent about who he was. At the same time, I think MTG was consistent. She was consistently America first, almost only like Matt, kind of isolationist. So at some point, when that topic, so when DEI is the topic, it's easy because everybody agrees on it. But when the topic gets to something they don't agree with, they were bound to clash. And since Trump's the kind that's like, be loyal, I'm gonna call you fat. And MTG is now out there talking about him in public and going on The View and all these places and not being loyal. Trump's just being Trump, right? So that's not really surprising. I'm not necessarily saying she was wrong. She's being consistent and Trump's doing what Trump was doing. So I think that one's a little different. But you want to say something, or you want me to go to Matt?
Do them both. Okay. Get them in whatever order you want.
You talked about the foreign policy. So, I mean, let's be real. The reason people have, unless there's some other reason, there may be others, you know, on a lesser scale, we don't want to be involved in foreign wars, that kind of thing. That's the Ukraine piece, because it started off with Ukraine. But Israel is specific because you have several layers to it, right? From a Christian standpoint, you're going to have many Christians that's like, I'm a Bible-believing Christian. This is what the Bible says about Israel and about the Jews. So I am not going to go against that. Doesn't mean my foreign policy should be, you know, Israel first, but I want to include them in the fold. Some would say, I love them like anybody else. They're good buddies, but you know, separate country. We don't want that alliance. And they feel that many people, you get it with Ben Shapiro, have a dual alliance, and they have a problem with that. So you can understand both sides of the argument. So that's the segment of the population. And then some people who are, you know, Western civilization advocates, right, which is many people, many academics, many on the right, see, even if you remove the religious component, see Israel as basically the only country of the West in the Middle East. They see it as the U.S. in the Middle East. So their interests and our interests are so in line, it just seems logical to help them, because if we can get them to fight our fight, it's almost like, it's almost like this, which goes to Matt's thing. What my one piece of the problems with what Matt said is that it's almost like in a way we're using them, right? It's like we have things we want in the Middle East. We don't want to put troops on the ground. We don't want to spend all that time over there. They're already fighting the fight we want to fight. So let's just help them stay over there and fight that fight. And then we can stay at arm's length, right? So you got those people. So those people combined with the people from a religious standpoint that believe that they're religiously bound to protect Israel, that's a good chunk of, not 50% of the country, but it's probably more than 50% of the right, since they tend to be more Christian conservative. So that's where that conflict comes from that standpoint. And leading lastly to Matt, and then I'll shut up and let you talk, is Matt is right in many cases. I don't agree with him 100%, but I don't disagree with him enough to be upset. Like the people who are mad, that part seems crazy. Just say,
Right.
I agree with 10%. I agree with 20%. I disagree with that. Or just I completely disagree with you. But I wouldn't be mad. I'm like, but you know, you and I, we're the ones that talked about if somebody called me a nigger, I'm not going to be freaking out. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, whatever. You know, so I'm not going to be curled up in a ball because I disagree with the guy on an issue. My only, and I saw some of, and he's right also, he was reading and talking about some of the people who challenged him, and he was like, well, that doesn't count because of this. And I agreed with that. The challenge I did not see, and of course he's got 1,000 response, so I couldn't see them all. My issue is he's saying America only means America only, like in the clip you play, it's like just like family only. Like I wouldn't, you know, put any other family ahead of my family. If
Right.
something was detrimental to my family, I wouldn't do it. All that stuff, he's right. All of us wouldn't do. I don't know. I know most of us would say it. I don't know because we're not all in position if we really would. 100, 200, 300 probably. But there's some number where you break point. Is it 1 million? I don't know if every parent would say between my kid and 1 million, saving 1 million lives, would I save my kid? I don't know. Right?
I would save
but see,
my
no,
child.
I think
It's
90% of
10
parents
million.
would say it, but I don't know if they would necessarily do it. And because we won't be in that position, we don't know. And to that side note, if that's the case, that's you as a mother, individual person on the street. But to be fair, he's talking about 1 million to 1, 10 million to 1. That's a normal citizen is not going to be in a position. So keep in mind, when you say you would, you're literally talking about like 3 people, right? So let's say you're saying you want the president of the United States, who you've elected, to choose Barron over the citizens. So that is even contrary to what Matt said, right? Because now he's an elected official, because you and I will never be in a position where we can save 1 million people or our kids. So we'll never be in a position. The one guy who might be is Donald Trump. So are we saying we want Donald Trump to pick his kid over the 1 million people? Side note, put a pin in that and think about that answer. Lastly, he's saying America first. I agree that that everything should be done through the lens of the country first. The problem with the premise is because, and some people were saying, what about business things? That's different because that's companies. But there is a situation where, like I said, in Israel, where our needs and our goals are aligned, right? So it is a benefit to us. So in his case, he's right. He'll say, then do it. But the problem is that question and answer is not always simple, right? So in Israel's case, because they do so many other things, innovation, all these other things, it could be a situation where if you do this thing, it will help 500,000 Israelis, but it will hurt 10,000 Americans. But it will also help a different 30,000 Americans. So now you're doing the math to say it's a net plus 20. My point is, it's just not, there's nothing wrong with the premise of what he's saying. I don't think it's anti-Christian, all those arguments. I don't think it's simple enough in the way things are intertwined to always know the answer to that question. But he's right. You should ask the question.
Yeah, he said though, the politicians are not our fathers. We're not their children. So he hated to make that comparison.
Right.
And when you do add in, when you say, okay, it may hurt 10,000 Americans, but help 30,000 Americans, then that does make it a bit more nuanced, a little bit more complex to come to the correct answer. However,
that's right.
However, if there's a situation where it is more like it's going to harm the majority of Americans, I do not think it should be done.
Wait, is there an example of that though? I mean, with Trump, obviously Biden letting people, 1 million people across the border, obviously, right?
That's a good one.
It's not like in the Israel, let's use the Israel debate, right? I don't think that's the case. I don't think we're doing anything. I don't have to agree with all. I don't agree with the Israeli government on everything, but I don't think we're doing anything actively that's going to actively harm 1 million Americans by doing it. Is there?
Well, it depends. So,
okay.
What about, if we're saying we don't want, and maybe not this particular situation, but we don't want American dollars going everywhere. We don't want American soldiers going everywhere.
100%. That's totally fine.
Yeah, I think that those arguments are valid, and we like, I don't want to be paying the, taxes, however large or small,
True.
and they going to any other country, and not just Israel, any other country, unless there is some direct benefit. And I say this all the time, like when the whole stuff first started with Israel and well, not when it first started, because I won't lie.
Thousands of years ago.
Okay. I was not alive, let's be clear. But when this last little incident seemed to come up, people would want me to take a position, and I'm like, how is it affecting me? Like, I don't have a position, because
and I don't think that's mean.
Feel like, you said what?
And I don't think that's mean. People acting like that's mean.
They want you, and it's not saying that I don't care about people being killed or tortured or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is, on a daily basis, I'm focused on things that directly affect me. The gas, the groceries, are my children safe? Those are the things that I am completely focused on, and I just don't have the time, the energy, the money to be completely focused on countries that I may never set foot in.
No, that's 100% valid. Let me ask you one question though. Matt also said, this is most people probably didn't catch this part. He said, when he used the family analogy, my family first before anybody else. I gave you the whole $1 million to my kid, which is fine. And then he also said, it doesn't mean that I don't want to help anybody else.
Right.
It's not going to help them at the detriment of my kid. Stop right there. Okay. Just want clarity. I'm not knocking them, just for clarity's sake. So you said that you don't mind helping anyone else in need. You don't want it to be at your detriment. But then later on, he talks about the dollars and all that. Anytime so good example, take Israel off the table. Jamaica just had a terrible, hurricane, right? A third of the country was displaced. Right? They need food, they need supplies, right? Not saying right or wrong, just asking the question. So I would like to ask Matt, if I had a chance to talk to Matt again about this, I would say, so how do you help them? If you do, maybe you just flat out say you don't. You want to help, they're close, they're struggling. How do you help them without it negatively affecting you? So it doesn't take food out of, let's say, Shemeka's mouth, but you are using tax dollars. So unless your argument is the government never does any charity, I'm agnostic. I don't get emotional about stuff. If that's your argument, I just say, okay, I know your argument. I don't say, you hate people, you're not a Christian, but I need to understand, because he did say he's willing to help. So what type of help are you going to have? Because any help you do is going to affect some. He said not one American citizen. Every tax dollar you spend is a tax dollar that can't be spent on an American citizen. So are you saying then never help?
When it comes to Jamaica, I think we really should make sure the Sandals resorts are in.
The result, I got my vacation scheduled in 3 weeks.
Okay.
I want that one to be good.
And we'll get to the rest of the country later, No, but seriously, I said, I'm a few French fries short of a Happy Meal. I think if we were in a surplus, I just don't feel like we should go in debt. And I know we're already in debt, but it's just like we keep.
So you're saying don't help?
It worse.
There's no way to help without going in debt. You got to spend money.
Yeah, then.
But there's still
you
a way
to go
to do it.
the Gulf Shores of Alabama, where the water's blue and the sand is white. Just for, what we're gonna have to do. This is a sacrifice we have to make. We can't go to, get some Jamaican rum.
Well, good luck with convincing America, even though all the social media fighting make it seem like we're all evil potential political shooters, but in reality, we're a bunch of softies. And you wouldn't even be able to get conservatives to not give people money when they're struggling.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it just coming from the individual. I just say cut off all government aid and make individuals donate what they want to donate, but it's never going to happen.
Yeah, now that would be good, because I don't know the number because it's been so long since I found there's like billions of dollars that people pay towards charities here in America, like all the time. Like it's a lot.
And many of them in foreign countries. Yeah, we donate so much money, more money than any other country. It's insane amount of money. I would guess it to be somewhere around in the tens or 100 billion. It's not even a billion. It's way more than that every year.
Yeah. So people, you know,
I went to an Alzheimer walk this weekend, and it was just the local chapter in NYC, and they raised like $6 million that day, just that day.
Oh wow!
One cause, not Red Cross, not flooding, not juvenile diabetes, not anything else, just that one cause. Oh yeah!
Oh wow!
Yeah, and then you got Christmas, you got Toys for Tots. Oh, it's an insane amount of money, but that still dwarfs when you talk about helping a government or helping people displaced in Jamaica. They need billions of dollars, right? So they would need like 10% of what we give. So we'd have to find a way to do that, to minimize what the country does. But I don't think it's a racist, anti-Christian, or a mean argument to make that argument. I don't have any problem with anything Matt Walsh said. I think it's difficult in practice because but you can use that as a way to minimize what we do by putting it through that lens first. I don't think you can say no all the time though. But I mean, if you split it in half, that's still better than nothing.
Yeah, it's definitely better than nothing. So I feel like, you know, on the right has become addicted to drama and controversy. And maybe they always were. I don't know. It seems like the appetite right now is like insatiable. What do you like? How do you feel like this damages us? Like we see what happened in these last elections. I know the left was like, oh, it was a blue wave or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Some of those places, of course, you know, nobody was surprised. Democrats got in.
In New Jersey and New York City, my word. You mean the man with 18 cats that lives in a studio apartment didn't win?
Right. So what damage do you think that like we're doing with all of the focus being on who likes who's on whose side, who's still, you know, buddies or not buddies, or, you know, are we doing damage?
Well, it ain't helping, but again, here I am in the minority. I still believe it, but Twitter's not real. And all that infighting is on social media. If you walk down the street, ask people on the street, people will be like, who are you? What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. Where it hurts is it hurts donations. It hurts the think tanks. It hurts having a cohesive message. Now we're at the point it is what it is, but politicians are listening to some of us and paying attention and getting ideas from it. So if there's fighting, there's less of that. But from the voter standpoint, we're forgetting voters are stupid. You know me, I used to go around asking people, because I believe this about 2 years ago. Let me quickly say this. And everybody, all my, conservative friends and people in the social media realm were saying, no, we matter. I'm like, yeah. So I was like, okay. So I asked all my friends, my brother, about 50 people. I got people in my circle, childhood friends from high school, people I work with. And I would just start mentioning people and mentioning social media fights to them. And 90% of the time, they'd be like, who is that? Yeah, what do you think about Candace Owens? I don't know. Well, you were still on the podcast, right, when we had Kira Davis on, right? And I love Kira. Kira came on at the time to talk about Candace because Candace was doing some really bad stuff at the time. This was before, she left Daily Wire, so it wasn't as bad as now. But she thought she was talking down to Black people. We agreed. She thought that her message wasn't the best for the Black community. We all agreed. And she wanted to say that. My point, and I think Will was on my side on this, the point of contention was, I said, the difference is you're saying it's hurting your message when you do outreach to the Black community. And Benji and so others have said that. When you have to reach out to the Black community, it hurts you because she's got this bad rhetoric. I'm like, come on, when's the last time you went to the hood and you were talking to them, giving them conservative principles? And they were like, you know what, Kira, Shemeka, Charles, you have some great ideas, but I was listening to Candace last week and she crazy, so I'm sorry. I'm going to have to, give you back your flyer. I can't listen to you. They don't know who Candace is.
But they didn't then. But don't you feel like she has grown? Because
but now she's not talking about Blacks anymore. She's just talking about Jews. They probably like cool with that.
Yeah, but like she has grown.
The Jews killed Charlie. The Jews took my sandwich, but I thought it was pork in it. So what? They didn't know. I mean, yes, her profile has grown, but now she's not doing the whole Blacks need to stop being ghetto anymore. So it's not an issue.
Yeah, but I'm saying when we thought, okay, nobody knows her, at that time, people didn't. Now I'm watching regular television, like TV shows. I was looking at shoot, I can't think of Mike Epps' show name.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about Candace on the TV show. So it's like now, maybe 5 years ago, she wasn't as popular, but
Right.
she's popular now. And I do think that people see the influence that influencers may have over large audiences when it comes to votes, that they put money, you know, shekels or whatever you want to say.
Shemeka. Throw the flag on the
Flag on the play. Flag on the play. You know, they put money.
But they only know her because people keep talking about it. Like if she was making her podcast and nobody was saying Candace is going crazy and tweeting about it, they would know. What's causing it is all the conversation back and forth.
Right.
So you're right, but I think that's the reason why they know her.
Yeah, because
try it with some other names and see if they know him. They know Matt Walsh now because he's made a couple mainstream movies. But I'm telling you, most of these people they don't know. They know Tucker, but they knew him from Fox.
Yeah,
Here's one. They know Tucker, but they don't know he has a podcast.
They don't know he has a podcast, right? And they've
heard nothing. They've heard no Nick Fuentes interviews. None of the stuff we're fighting about. They haven't heard.
Yeah, they haven't heard that stuff. But I do think that people say, okay, there's, they could potentially in the future pose a problem. Let's try to go ahead and nip it in the bud. And I'll give you a little extra cash if you say this or that against them or try to shut them up.
That's 100% true. But that's because the person who's doing it assumes a greater level of influence than they have. And until they become controversial and other people start talking to them, then they don't really reach that stratosphere. I mean, you can get 100, 200,000 followers. You can do well, be successful, have a circle, travel and speak. But you won't be known outside of social media until somebody else starts talking about you.
Right. Correct.
Like nobody paid attention to Don Lemon until he got fired. And he started going around talking to people on the street, and then people started making fun of him because they didn't agree with him. He looked foolish. Now he looks like a fool, but lots of more people know him now because they're making fun of he goes on the street to the Black community, expect them to say something, and they don't say it.
Right. A lot more people know me because I said a certain comedian looked like Grape 8. They didn't know me before, so it's like the controversy.
You putting in all that work, and all you had to do was talk about some woman.
Okay, I could have said that a long time ago and been okay. So, but do you think, being serious again for a brief second, do you think that when people take sides in the whole beef, that it takes away from people focusing on policy and the things that actually matter? Because you see so many times when people say, what are they distracting us from? And it's like they're always like passing something late at night when we aren't paying attention and we're just bickering over something that doesn't matter. Do you see that still happening or think that that's an issue?
100%. I'll do you one better. It's not even whether you take sides in the beef. The beef itself causes that. Because then you get multiple people retweeting with somebody else. So you get the beef and then people are talking about the beef. Doesn't even have to be taking the sides. The fact that everybody keeps retweeting it. So then the person who was way outside the layer out here, who wasn't insulated, paying attention to what's going on, is like, why is everybody talking about Nick Fuentes? My wife said that. I heard the name. I don't know who it is. Maybe I should go see who he is. I'm like, don't even bother. Don't even waste your time. Don't waste your time. So that's what they don't realize. As bad as he may be, you're fueling it. And of course, the president's everywhere. So once you ask him questions about it, now regular people know who he is because somebody asked Trump about him.
Right. And they have to go and look it up. I'm telling you, I never was a person who watched Candace a lot. Like she did some things that I was interested in, like the whole thing she did against the Gardasil, I think it was, vaccine, and she was talking about that. Like there are things that I'm interested in, or because I'm on Fearless with Jason Whitlock, there may be things that I need to watch, like her thing on BLM or George Floyd, because we were going to discuss that. But once they started saying, you can't watch her, she's crazy, I'm the type of person that you're not going to tell me what to do. Now, that million that's hitting, like,
that's a million
not
to one.
too, I'm in the number. You know,
well, can't we just be honest and split the baby and say she is crazy, but you can watch it if you want to?
but you know what? I believe that you have to be a little crazy to be fearless. I really do think you got to be a little bit crazy. Like, I'm a little bit crazy, right? And I think I have to be able to keep getting up and saying what I want to say and not worrying about the backlash or the people saying, I'm unfollowing you. You know, you got to be a little bit crazy. Like, the love of my life is a little bit crazy, but I feel safe.
We got to talk about that, by the way, because you said that twice. So I got some catching up.
Yeah.
I got some catching up to do because
yes. You know, I think we met right before I left Cut the Bull, so it's kind of new.
It's not like I haven't talked to you since then. You've been on Cut the Bull twice since then. I talk to you all the time.
Have I been on twice?
I think so, but we talk.
Yeah, just not often.
At least once or twice a month. That was so young.
We do not talk once or twice a month.
Really?
Once every other month.
Right on this live, I would go find the last 6 times I talked to you.
Well, because
the love of my life ain't never came up, but okay.
Yes, he did.
Whatever.
He did. You just don't listen to me, Charles. Like, you don't.
That's stereotypical. Because I'm a man, I don't listen to you. What'd you say?
No, because you're Charles, you don't listen. I bet Will knows.
Okay. I'll have to find out more.
So I'm going to read some of these questions. Okay. I want to first thank Nick Smith for the super chat. He says it's a super chat to pay for another box of Kleenex and a pint of ice cream ASAP. He needed that chuckle today. Yeah, I need some ice cream while I sit around. That's what the Golden Girls would do. They would get out ice cream or cheesecake and sit
dating
around.
Yourself.
No, they're on reruns. I didn't see them when they first aired. I'm watching the reruns. Okay. Let's see. Melina says the attacks on Twitter are to distract us from the next shenanigans the liberals are going to pull.
Except the liberals aren't the one attacking.
Right. And so we're falling
into the trap.
Yeah, I was going to say we're falling into the trap then. Trump gives 0 Fs. He's already said if Mamdani wants to interfere with ICE and NYC, we'll just have to arrest him. Now, I would love to see that.
Before or after he arrests Netanyahu?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said before or after he arrests Netanyahu. Remember, Mamdani said he's going to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu.
Oh, I thought you were saying Trump. I was going to say, Charles, you're sounding like an anti-Semite.
The Jews. It's the Jews.
Right. Yeah. I'll be canceled before I can even get big. No, I'm just playing. I would get myself canceled. Pete says the reason a sector of the conservative movement is splitting off is because they obviously have critical thinking skills and discernment that the other half obviously doesn't have.
Basically, because half of them stupid. That's what he said.
Right? That you did say that.
Which half though? He didn't say which half.
Yeah, he didn't say
it's
which
the
half.
Jews. It's the Jewish half.
Yeah, we would probably, people would disagree on which half is the crazy half. So do you feel like there is a woke right? You know, there's that argument. Is there a woke right?
As Lindsay defines it, technically, yes. We had him on and talked about, I don't disagree. He and I disagreed on how many of them there are.
Right.
But yeah, definitely. I mean, the way he defines the term, I would say, yes, they definitely exist. Now, is it half and half? Probably not.
Pete is not really happy with the right, is he?
But he just they've been like that for a while.
Right. Thomas Bailey, Tucker has a really stupid, over-the-top, silly laugh. It makes you laugh, though, doesn't it? Right. It makes me laugh. Let's see what we have here. Melina says, I'm not sure what all the brouhaha is over Tucker. I must have missed it, but Tucker has never been one of my go-to people. I never watched him on Fox. I think I loved him. And hi to everybody in the chat. Pete, Carolyn, Graham's Coots, Thomas, all of the head shakers, TJ, conservative hustler. I used to watch him on Fox periodically. Like, I don't know. I think because, again, I am the person when people say you can't do something, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Like, people would say you can't like Rush Limbaugh. Well, some of the things he said, I agreed with. And there was this other guy. What was the name of the guy? I think he worked for Fox, and it was some sexual harassment stuff going on. So he got
Bill O'Reilly?
Bill O'Reilly, yes.
Oh, yeah. He was the biggest one out there. He's still out there. I just saw him the other day.
Yeah, I used to love to watch his show, but nobody knew that I would watch his show because, you know, maybe that meant I was a white supremacist in blackface. But I liked it.
And a little crazy.
Yeah. And so let's see, anything what else we have here? Because it is 3:00. Thomas Bailey, I think Donald John Trump is doing an awesome job as POTUS.
He has his moments.
Yeah, and Thomas Bailey says, I agree with what Matt Walsh said, America and Americans first.
I agree.
Stimulated Student says, printing money harms more than 1 million Americans.
True.
Cougar Diva says, I do not trust Bondi. She let Epstein go with a sweetheart deal in Florida, and it's her who is hiding this Epstein stuff.
Here comes another unpopular opinion. Don't care about the Epstein files.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care. Like, it's not gonna alter my day-to-day living.
Right. On my America only. It has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, there's a ratchet little girl on the inside of me that does, you know, want to see who were the clients.
That's just curiosity, though.
Yeah.
I don't like it affects any of the things that when you say they're trying to distract us from things, it's not really, it doesn't matter in the economy, foreign policy, America first, deportations, crime, none of that stuff.
I can multitask. You know, it's instead of watching an episode of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, right? I'll just watch an episode of the Epstein Files. You know, replace one ratchet drama series with another.
Okay.
Carolyn says, my mom always says charity begins at home.
Yep.
Stimulated students, charity is not the job of the government, it's the job of the church. Now that's
correct too. Family, then church, then whatever nonprofits around, then you beg on the street, and then eventually maybe the government will help the lowest of the low only in a certain situation when it affects the rest of us, because it helps us to not have homeless people on the street stabbing us in the face and peeing on our sandwiches.
You see why people you see the head shakers, their elevators don't go all the way to the top either. You know,
Barbecue. Is Barbecue still in charge? I don't think he's in charge anymore.
Barbecue just barbecues the people.
You remember Barbecue?
Huh?
You remember Barbecue?
I remember Barbecue. Yeah.
They don't talk about him anymore. He must not be in control anymore.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything.
He got duly elected president. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about Barbecue lately. Pete says 15 yards, Shemeka.
Yep, throwing the flag. Call her Shekel Shemeka.
Okay. It's cold in the winter says, if we have enough money to pass to other countries, my taxes should be lowered.
But we're using your taxes to pass to other countries. How are we going to get money to other countries if you don't give us your money?
King Reek, Mr. Tate was definitely in your comments. Safe to say you struck a nerve. Yeah, I guess that's what I did. Let's see. TJ the Conservative Hustler says nobody tells me who to listen or talk to. Damn it. That's
Cut the
me.
bull. That's what you should listen to.
Yes. Oh, yes. Charles, before we go.
You about to sit here and read comments for the next hour.
No. I was coming to the end. The head shakers, that's what they love about shaking my head. They get to have a part of the show. We're a family over here.
Oh. I remember when we used to be a family. Now I don't even know about the love of my life.
Until you kick me off for Christy. Let's talk about that. Well, y'all just kick me to the curb.
We got a special guest this week on the pod, and maybe that's what we'll talk about.
Yes, we'll talk about that.
Why you leave?
Right. And I was gonna I have to get her on here because I think she's hilarious, and she's very even, like, I just feel like she's calm, very logical, a good addition.
Who Wilford Riley?
No.
Oh, because he identifies as she now, so I thought you were talking about.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just talking about Christy Kelley.
Yes.
I call her Baby Shemeka.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I have to get her on here as well.
She would be fun.
Yeah.
You know what you should talk to her about? I don't know if you saw it. I forgot what the guest was or what we were talking about, but she basically was. Well, I don't know. See, because I've never lived around Black people. I don't want to live around Black people. And if I'm fortunate, my kids would never.
Is that what she said?
I'm paraphrasing.
Oh,
that
that's
exactly,
hilarious.
but it was pretty hilarious.
Yes. Well, Charles, before I let you go and close out, would you tell the people how to find you?
Why do you want to find me? Twitter's not real. Don't find me. All the people on social media are fake. They're all bots. None of us are real. No. You can check out the Cut the Bull podcast. You can find me on Twitter at CDouglasLove3, or check me out on occasion. I should post about when I'm on mostly on weekends and Fridays on Newsmax.
We thank you so much, Charles, for being an official head shaker.
I thank you and appreciate it in spite of all you do to me.
In spite of being kicked off, Cut the Bull and replaced like I was nothing.
It was easy. It was easy to replace you. We got to be honest. But you're welcome back whenever.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Charles. I will definitely have you back. Maybe we could do a Cut the Bull reunion on Shaking My Head.
Maybe we should. Well, you're going to have to start a little late so Will can make it. It'll be me and you for like 10 minutes and then Will.
And you're absolutely right. I can't even defend him. You're absolutely correct in saying that.
Don't tell him I said that. That's between you and I, right? Nobody can hear that.
Okay. But it's true. Yeah. But thank you so much, Charles. And until next time you are on, just go about your day shaking your head. And I'll bring you on when I get canceled again, or when I start to lose followers. Maybe you help them come back. I don't know.
He'll be back. He needs you.
They do. They really do. They just don't know it yet. Thank you so much, Charles.
Have a good one.
See you later. So, head shakers, thank you for tuning in today. I just wanted to remind you that this isn't just drama. It's a symptom of a bigger collapse of integrity. People care more about their platform than principle, and we need to pay attention to that. We got to zone into the actual principle, because influencers protect the narrative they are paid to protect, not necessarily the truth. And I'm telling you, with what I'm seeing, if they are willing, these so-called friends, to turn on Candace, to turn on Tucker, they will turn on anyone. If the movement can't handle independent thought, then it isn't a movement, it's a cult. And I'll be here tomorrow to discuss that further because I'm shaking my head. Same place, same time. Be here. I love you.